Hello, my name is Neil Ebenezer, and I'm the medtech and genomics specialist at the Department for Business and Trade. And today I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about the UK genomic and personalized medicine landscape in the UK. My talk will cover a brief introduction to DBT and who we are, touch on to some great degree around the genomic medicines landscape, and then talk through some of the areas around precision medicines and personalized medicines that are developing in the UK and some of those opportunities to be shared more widely. So what is the Department for Business and Trade? It is the department that was created about a year ago through the merger of the Department for International Trade and the domestic business support functions of the Department for Business, Energy, and Industrial Strategy. So it really brings together business and trade together into one single department and is the voice of business in Whitehall. So the departmental responsibilities include redrawing our rules to ensure businesses thrive, markets are competitive, and consumers are protected, secure investment from UK international businesses, advise, support, and promote British businesses to grow and export, open up to new markets for business by removing barriers of trade and striking trade deals. We promote free trade, economic security, and resilient supply chains. And we have embassies across the world and consulates where there are British staff that can help companies from other geographies engage with companies in the UK. So when we're looking at the UK offer across the life sciences space, we offer a rich, diverse, internationally competitive ecosystem for innovation. There's an active partnership between industry, the National Health Service, the NHS, academia, charities, and government. At the heart of what we do is really the NHS, National Health Service, which is a single payer system that the majority of the 67 million people in the UK will get their healthcare provided through the NHS. To meet this demand, the NHS is always looking for innovative technologies that can improve the outcomes for patients while reducing the cost of that service delivery. The UK has this global hub for life sciences. So whether it's from the pharma or the medical technology side, that come together to provide key areas of innovation that can meet this need. This is built on the backbone of a very strong scientific base, with 4 out of the 10 highest rating universities based in the UK. Alongside of this, we have a business environment for industry that is supportive, and it allows the use of patient data to develop some of the new technologies. The partnership working is very much government working together with industry, but also with the charities that can help develop and support the production of new technologies. Some of the opportunities we see are really some of the global trends that are now happening and occurring around the world. And this is very much around an aging population, which we see many countries like the UK having to deal with. This leads to a prevalence of chronic conditions and a rising concern also around future pandemics. So this it's really pushing some of the growth that we're seeing in the medtech industry, especially around genetics, genomics, I should say, as well as in diagnostics. But what we're also seeing is for medical technology is a convergence that's occurring. So when we have patient, software, and clinician really trying to optimize patient therapies to support better, longer, and healthier lives. So the UK is a global hotspot with a strong domestic industry of medtech innovators, expert services, supply chain, and support for small to medium enterprise businesses. We're also seeing a growth in precision medicines and companion diagnostics, So this is basically diagnostics can better triage patients to specific therapies, along with a health system and consumer-led focus on preventative medicine and early detection of disease. So this has promoted by extensive innovation alongside advances in digital health and a better enablement of diagnostics, monitoring, and treatment pathways. So the UK has developed a life science vision and innovation, and more information on that is available via the link. One should note that this was done under the auspices of the previous government, but any government coming in would have to address similar challenges. So one will wait to see how this vision changes or is enhanced. There's a strong focus on genomics and health data. This is to provide innovators with a smooth and quicker access to reliable, high-quality, real-world data alongside clinical and genomic data, and is trying to drive UK at the forefront of new era of computational biology, and to seize opportunities to support NHS and patients through innovative NHS data partnerships. We're talking today very much around genomics and personalized medicine, so it's worth talking about a little bit what we understand by genomics. So if we go back a bit, DNA is really the molecule that's inside cells that contain the genetic information responsible for the development and function of an organism, including humans. And DNA molecules allow this information to be passed from one generation to the next. The DNA is combined in a way that we call them genes. So these are made up of sequences of DNA, and are the basic units of heredity passed from one parent to a child. And the infographic on the right really tries to show how that works. And genomics now is the study of the complete set of DNA, including all of its genes of a person or any other organisms. Most cells in a person's body contains a complete copy of their genome. And genomics in health examines the molecular mechanisms and the interplay of this information and health interventions together with environmental factors for disease. And so this is more around the background, looking at the history that the UK has had for over 70 years in the area of genomics, from the initial discovery of DNA to the Human Genome Mapping Project, where the UK was at the forefront of some of that together with the USA, as well as taking a lead on this initial sequencing of 100,000 genomes, which was the world's first at the time. This throws up a big area around that goes hand in glove with the area of genomics and personalized medicine, and that is of big data. The more data we have from patients' genomes, which are very data rich, together with other information around the health of the individual, longitudinal patient data, patient registers. This creates this concept of the big data that can be used to better inform patient outcomes. But to do this, significant levels of funding are needed, whether this is from government, charities, or from private enterprise. But we can see that the UK has developed the structures in place to allow some of this now to lead the development of a genomics medicine service. The UK Biobank, and you've seen some of the data on the earlier slide, was really around the recruitment of over 500,000 people from the 40 to 69 age group who would share their DNA, but also their medical history, lifestyle choices, and so forth. So this becomes a very rich data repository to allow clinicians and healthcare providers together with industry to develop therapeutic solutions. And these are some of the things that they would focus on. And this is basically just giving a timeline of some of the UK's genomic history over the last 25 years and how this has progressed quite markedly, as I said, from the genome mapping through to the 100,000 genome to some of the work that's now been developed as a genomics medicine service. The UK positions itself very strongly as a global leader in genomics for some of the areas that I've already described, and this infographic kind of runs through some of that. You can see some of the links at the bottom that'll give you a better idea of the UK approach to genomics and how it plans to look at this nearly up to 2026. It was done in 2022 to 2036. But it shares that vision of how a genomics medicine service could be delivered. And there's also a look at the future where this will greatly improve not just the mental, but also the physical well-being of the UK population and millions more worldwide. There's a UK core strength in genomics, and some of these we have touched on, but it's really underpinned by its life science, heritage, and strong foundations. And really now it's trying to look at how we can actually utilize that to push the boundaries of discovery further and to mainstream some of the know-how that we have in genomics on improving patient outcomes through the development of new therapeutics, as well as the changes in lifestyle that sometimes might need to go along some of this. So these are some of the areas here which I won't dwell on, but you'll have that to think through how this might look at from your perspective in your country. I'll talk a little bit about the NHS Genomics Medicine Service now, which is really, as I said, the NHS is very much at the heart of service delivery for patients in the UK. And we have several hubs that work as a national network to provide equitable access to comprehensive genomic testing for all patients. And this is focused on England, but applies to Wales and Scotland as well. And this delivers issues of training and education, development of good laboratory practice, support around the informatics that needs to go with the know-how of genomics, and developing clinical protocols and opportunities, and clinical oversight and governance. And the increasing access to clinical trials in the space of genomics is also something that we're seeing from these centers. We've developed a DBT, a spotlight on genomics, and this was done a couple of years ago now. And there's a link to this document. It's worth noting that we're in the process of updating that, and later this year there will be an update with more of a focus on the companies and what they can provide in terms of service delivery to not just to the UK, but also possibly internationally. And so we covered sort of 5 main areas in the genomics offer, which is around genomic sequencing, software, bioinformatics and consultancy. We looked at diagnostic tests and reagents, some of the training and education. There was an offer around the clinical genomics service, and the final offer was around precision therapeutics, including cell and gene therapy. And I'll briefly touch on some of these now to give you a flavor of what has been occurring in the UK. So we take the area of sequencing. The company we've highlighted here is Oxford Nanopore Technologies, and ONT have developed the world's first and only nanopore DNA sequencer. And this is basically something that is portable, will provide real-time long-read sequences. It's a low-cost device that can be used in very different geographies. Alongside this, there's a lot of biological analysis that goes with the readouts from this, and that links into some of the bioinformatics that has to go alongside the development of the sort of sequence reads that you get. More information about the nanopore technology is available from the link provided. In terms of diagnostics, we focus here on a UK-based medtech company called Quantum DX that sets out to solve real-world diagnostic problems by creating multiplex molecular solutions for point-of-care need. And they have a rapid platform that provides a rapid, simple-to-use, portable sample, and that can be multiplexed. So this has been proven to be quite useful, not during just COVID, but also in other areas, and is now being used increasingly in various healthcare settings. As I've mentioned previously, for the NHS, training and education is a cornerstone, and we have the NHS Health Education England's approach to do this. It has produced several excellent pieces of work in upskilling its workforce, and some of that is available globally. But they've also set out how they will go about doing this. And so from their website, you'll get a lot more information about other healthcare systems could possibly consider how they would do their training and education for their population. There are also several digital health solutions around genomics. Eagle Genomics has provided some next generation sequencing technologies that can include array and exome-based sequencing, and these can rapidly increase output while reducing cost. Cambridge Epigenetics is a life sciences tool and analytics company that produces the technology to generate more data from DNA. And the DNA contains more information than just the DNA codes of ACGT. And epigenetics specifies cell fate, age, response to environment, and that's disrupted in the very early stages of disease. And so we can now start seeing how the importance of biology and disease state can also be sort of interpreted through some of the tools that are being developed. We come to precision or personalized medicine. So when we're looking at combining and analyzing information about one's genome, the other clinical and diagnostic information together with environmental areas, we can start looking at patterns that can be identified that can help determine an individual's risk of developing a disease. It can be used to detect the illnesses earlier and determine the most effective intervention to help improve our health. It can also help transform how we think about our healthcare and help us deliver what is often called 4Ps, which are prediction of and prevention of disease, leading to more precise diagnoses, a personalized and targeted interventions, and a more participatory role for patients. The UK is making advances in precision medicines, including in areas of biomarkers and diagnostics, which are essential for patient stratification, diagnosis, and treatment. Examples of where the UK is already building on this growing market include the Barts Life Sciences Centre in East London, which is really developing a different data portal for its population group of around 2.5 million people that will allow that data to be utilized to better meet the needs of its population. It has a very diverse population group, and this could become quite a unique data set in help elucidating disease state. In Northern Ireland, there's a group there that is working very much on identifying how the genomic makeup can lead to how we metabolize certain drugs, and this can actually better inform areas of what we will call pharmacogenomics, of where one's genome will determine the sort of therapies that are being provided and how the body will then utilize those therapies and which will be the most appropriate form of a drug to take. So in precision medicine, we can look at things like cell and gene therapy. The UK has funded a cell and gene therapy catapult, an organization that will help support companies developing technologies in this space. But more broadly, cell and gene therapy we've seen growing. The UK possibly has the second largest cluster outside of the USA, and it offers a great environment for building a leading global company in the cell and gene therapy space. And so for companies from abroad looking to come in and work in this space, then the UK can afford that ecosystem and be supportive to that. Or you may wish to think about some of the stem cells and other therapies that are being developed in the UK to better meet the needs of your population. And one example over here of a stem cell therapy is from Orchard Therapeutics. and they're taking a hematopoietic stem cells as a form of gene therapy, where patients' own blood stems are taken outside of the body, genetically modified, and then put back in the body to address the initial insult that was causing disease. And they're advancing a deep pipeline spanning preclinical, clinical, and commercial stage gene therapy to address some very serious disease states. So this is a good example of how it can actually be put into practice. So when you're looking at genomics as a future, the UK, as I said, has a thriving and innovative genomics ecosystem, and this can lead to a turnover of around 2.4 billion currently, and that's set to grow. It has quite a few world-leading genome databases, having been at the forefront of a lot of those initial technologies and the development of the tools to allow the analysis and interpretation of that data that can lead to new therapies. And then it's that implementation of the therapies to improve patient health through a genomics medicine service. So when we look at DBT and how we can help, there are several things that we can do. We can work with companies who from the UK have gone through the processes here. They've met the regulatory requirements. They've addressed some of the areas around health technology assessments, and they've applied it to a population in the UK already. And they could look to say, well, how can those technologies developed in genomics or personalized medicine be applied more globally and to other geographies? So companies that emerge from that setting are in a good position to address some of the challenges elsewhere. They have benefited from the partnership and vision of the UK's comprehensive innovation ecosystem that has this long track record of working with industry and government alongside academia, charities, and the NHS. But on a practical level, we can highlight the UK's depth and breadth of expertise for export as world leaders in the field of genomics, as well as opportunities for landing in the UK for companies from different countries around the world looking to work in this space can come into the UK. We can explain the ecosystem which enabled the delivery of a genomics medicine service in the UK and the expertise that's needed in the various national initiatives and programs which are contributing to the genomics landscape of the future. And we can coordinate and introduce relevant companies and suppliers from the UK. So thank you for your attention. And my contact details are given here together with a colleague of mine, Emma Delgado. If there are more bits of information that you'd like, or more information about different companies not mentioned here, we are happy to supply that. And thank you.